We begin in Stillwater, Oklahoma, where a shooting took place at Oklahoma State University. 3 people are recovering in a hospital and at least 1 victim was a student. Police say the shooting happened once people arrived at a residence hall after a party off campus after 3:30 in the morning. They also say there's no ongoing threat to campus. Stay with THV 11 as we learn more. 1 person is in critical condition along with 9 others recovering after a 3rd-floor balcony collapsed in Cincinnati. The incident happened Friday night, and according to local police, the people involved were celebrating after finishing an exam. Authorities add that the building is a place where a lot of students live. At this time, it's unknown how many people were on it when it gave way. From coast to coast, rallies were held to protest the Trump administration and what organizers call an abuse of power. As CBS's Christian Benavidez reports, the protests came as the government shutdown enters its 3rd week and as the Trump administration ramps up its attacks on alleged drug vessels in the Caribbean.
Across the country, more than 2,600 No Kings rallies were held Saturday. In all, organizers say at least 7 million Americans took to the streets.
No, President Trump, we don't want you or any other king to rule us.
In New York City, more than 100,000 people participated, and things became tense in Los Angeles outside an ICE facility where police issued a dispersal order. Republicans criticized the rallies. House Speaker Mike Johnson.
We refer to it by its more accurate description, the Hate America rally.
The protests come as the House will be out of session for another week, and the government shutdown enters its 19th day, with no end in sight to the shutdown or the blame game.
It's a Democrat shutdown. It's a Schumer shutdown.
We are in day 18 of the Trump Republican shutdown.
The effects are deepening. More than 7,000 federal workers filed for unemployment benefits last week, according to the Wall Street Journal. Meantime, President Trump posted video of a U.S. military strike on a submersible suspected to be used for smuggling drugs.
Just so you understand, this was not an innocent group of people. I don't know too many people that have submarines. And that was an attack on a drug-carrying, loaded-up submarine.
It is the 6th known strike in the Caribbean Sea since last month on alleged Venezuelan drug vessels by the U.S. military. Christian Benavidez, CBS News.
President Trump said 2 survivors of a U.S. military strike Thursday on a vessel in the Caribbean Sea will be returned to their countries of origin. Thursday's strike marks the 6th known boat attack in the area since last month and the 1st known attack with survivors. Newly released drone footage out of Alaska shows widespread flooding after Typhoon Halong. It also shows damaged homes scattered across the village of Kipnuk. The footage was filmed days after the storm devastated the area between October 11th and 12th, and about 1,800 people were displaced, with the worst flooding in the lower tundra. Evacuees were airlifted to Anchorage and dozens of people were rescued. On Friday, Governor Mike Dunleavy announced plans for state officials to begin assessing the extent of the damage from the ground.
All the people wanted was help. The people that are out there, they're very concerned about making sure their communities stay intact. They're worried about what the future is going to look like, and that's a discussion we're all going to have. But again, very positive attitudes. We're going to get them the help.
According to the governor, damage from the widespread flooding was so severe that evacuees will not be able to return home for more than a year.
Well, we got our first confirmed tornado from yesterday's severe weather event. Could at least see maybe one more. There were 2 reports across Hot Spring County of tornado damage, but this is the confirmed tornado out of Hot Springs near Caddo Valley. Now, this is rated an EF1 from the National Weather Service with an estimated maximum wind speed of 105 miles. Did not stay on the ground for very long, less than a mile, with about 100 yards wide was that tornado. Here's a deeper look at where it was. It was in the southwest portion of that county. You could see that track again, not very long, but just to the north and west of where highways 128 and highway 283 kind of intersect. You see off to the northwest, there's Caney on the map. Now, we've also picked up quite a bit of rain across the state yesterday as well. Generally speaking, some of the greatest totals were across the southwestern half of the state or the western half of the state. Monticello, though, was another big winner with that rainfall, seeing over an inch of rain. We saw just over a quarter of an inch here in the capital city. As we continue through the evening, we saw a lot of sunshine today, and as that sun sets sets. We're going to continue to see clear skies, a calm wind thanks to high pressure moving in, which is going to help us fall to the 40s overnight. That's right, the 40s. So you're going to want to make sure you dress in those layers tomorrow. Full details on the week ahead are coming up in your 7-day outlook.
Thank you, Simone. Paris's Louvre Museum was closed today after a major robbery of priceless jewelry. Melissa Bell has the details.
Not since the theft of the Mona Lisa in the early 20th century had anything quite this brazen been attempted here at the world's most visited museum. It was just after 9:30 a.m., even as the museum had opened its doors to the public, that 3 to 4 people, the early elements of the investigation are showing, managed to get in to the building. We're now understanding from the French press that this may have been the truck that they used, using an angle driver after to force open the window. The room that they entered in was the one that houses France's crown jewels. This is what the early elements of the investigation show.
It does appear that these were extremely well-trained robbers. They planned this meticulously, obviously.
For the rest of this Sunday, the museum will remain closed as authorities try to piece together how this theft, this robbery could have happened 9:30 a.m. in broad daylight, with thieves making off with what have been described as inestimably precious valuables, jewelry from that era. One piece has been found near the scene after they fled on motorcycles, but even now the list of what they made off with is being compiled. Melissa Bell, CNN, Paris.
Well, everyone has a story, no matter who you are. That was the message at today's annual Tales of the Crypt at Mount Holly Cemetery in Little Rock. Lines were long this afternoon as visitors waited for the gates to open, and from there, history came to life, all led by Parkview High School theater students. Guests toured the grounds, walked near the gravestones, and heard the stories of historic Arkansans, and even some hidden figures from the past.
I assign them people that are buried here in the cemetery. And then they, over the summer, start researching their lives, and they write this 4-minute script of the lives of the people that are buried here. So there's a little bit of historical, a little bit of creative writing tied into it.
Zink also says students have the option to choose between being a tour guide or a performer. At 10, we'll take you inside the experience and share some of the stories that help keep Arkansas history alive.